So you will discover that Abraham called his servant in verse 2 of chapter 24. And he was talking to him about how to get a wife for his son Isaac, the son of promise. So when it was time for Isaac to be married, it wasn't even Isaac's initiative. It was first the initiative of the father. It was the father that saw that my son is growing and is now old enough to have a wife. So let me initiate the process. Most of the time in Christian relationships, God initiates the process. Because he's the one that is initiating the process doesn't mean that he's the one that will just do everything for you. You also would have a part to play in the process. But God is always the initiator. If you look at it very well in Genesis, the first marriage, the Bible says that God said, it is not good for man to be alone. Let me a help that is meet for him, a helpmate. It is not good for man to be alone. So the first marriage we see in scripture between Adam and Eve was the brainchild of God. God initiated it. God started it. And then we look at, again in Genesis 24 here, the marriage of Isaac and Rebekah, it was initiated by God. So one of the ways of Isaac is that when you are getting to a stage when you are supposed to stop being alone, God will start initiating things, sometimes directly to you, but sometimes when you refuse to listen, He will start using authority figures around you to nudge you, to let you know that it is time for you to now begin to get serious with this part of your life. That's when older people start calling you and start asking you questions that they wouldn't ask you 10 years before that time, and telling you, who are you dating? Who are you courting? Are you with somebody? Who are you liking? Sometimes you could take those things as parental pressure. I mean, I've been there before. I mean, if people ask me such questions, I would deflect those questions. I would just change the topic. But I would think they were trying to put pressure on me. Or you could see that, you could look at it here, that when God went and said that it wasn't good for Adam to be alone, Adam didn't deflect, and he didn't try to change the topic. He was submissive to the will of God in that regard. And when Abraham called Eliezer, and probably, of course, Isaac would have gotten a wind of what the father was trying to do. He didn't say, Father, do not intervene with my emotional issues. This is my private and personal affairs. Why are you trying to force a woman on me? He submitted to the will of the father, to the timing of the father. That is one of the way of Isaac, because what an elder sees while sitting up, a younger person will not see it while standing on a two-story building. So the first thing that we see about the way of Isaac was that he submitted to the will and the timing of the father. When the father said that the time was right for him to stop being alone, he didn't go crazy, go wild on the father Abraham. He allowed the father, he submitted to the timing of the father. So that's the first thing that we see there in Genesis 24, verse 3.